Neville, it's me. Yes, I have finally arrived at Pat and Maurice's, but not unscathed. Oh, Neville, what a nightmare of a journey. If only you'd have been with me, I wouldn't be in the state I'm in now and needing an intravenous drip of sweet cherry. Thankfully, Maurice has left me with a bottle. No, listen, Neville, please. Apparently, there'd been a collapse of overhead cables at York, which meant we had to go via Preston, where I was unceremoniously dumped on the platform, had to clamber onto a replacement service, at which point our reserved seats had become invalid. Well, I don't know who the train companies employ these days, but they all seem to have been selected from the underbelly of society. Why can't we get decent customer service on public transport in this country when you could get it abroad? They're all irritating jobs worth telling you it's all your fault because you have the audacity to complain. Are you there, Neville? Yes, well, there were no seats available at all, not in regular class. And I was not prepared to stand for the whole journey, not in that crowded corridor, with the volume of humanity there was there. I'd somehow become wedged between this corpulent pig of a man who hadn't seen a bar of soap in what seemed like an eternity, and the overflowing cesspit that masqueraded as a lavatory. So I marched down to first class, where there were umpteen seats available. I popped myself down and breathed a sigh of relief. Try and move me if you can, I thought to myself. Then along comes this power-mad train inspector. I could tell he was trouble. He was a short man and had the overall demeanour of a farmyard cockerel, and features not dissimilar to a rabid ferret. Not a jot of empathy when I told him of the unhygienic nature of the other passengers and of the train sanitary arrangements, never mind my daily agony with my ongoing spondylolisthesis. My spondylolisthesis. Yes, my back. I received a terse response saying under no circumstances could I remain in first class unless I paid for the privilege, which I was not prepared to do because I'd already paid for a seat on the original train for the whole journey. And he said to me, without a word of a lie, Neville, he said to me, "That's not my fault, pal." Pal, not madam. I know we're supposed to be gender neutral these days, but do I look like a pal? Oh yes, I did try my penetrating glare, Neville, and gave him a jolly good ticking off, which, as you know, usually works, but not with this rapscallion. His tone and manner became most offensive. It was almost like a deranged Billy Connolly. He put his hands on his hips and he looked down his nose and he said to me, "Listen," he said, "you've no choice. You pay up, move out, or I turf you off at the next station. I've far more worthy passengers than you who need to sit down, pal." Neville, I was speechless. What did I do? What did I do? Well, I stood my ground, or rather I sat my ground. I refused to move. I didn't pay good money to be spoken to like that and spend the entire journey with ne'er-do-wells next to a public convenience. And do you know what happened next? Do you know what happened next? Yes, I am going to tell you. Well, rather than come to my defence, the whole carriage turned against me. Some man stood up and he shouted over, "Get off, you stupid woman!" And then another chap stood up and shouted, and before you know it, the whole carriage was screaming at me, "Out, out, off, off!" Neville, I have never been so humiliated. And yes, so for the second time that day, I was unceremoniously dumped on a station platform, this time at Carnforth. You wouldn't have seen that in Brief Encounter. Have no doubt, Devil. Have no doubt, Neville. I shall be writing to the train authorities and every national newspaper that I can think of. And if you can bring yourself to bombard that social mediocrity with my experience, then all the better. This man needs his comeuppance. Maurice, I've finished the bottle.